help them to come and work in foreign companies, because many years ago it was really difficult, but now I see how many efforts make School 21 and close the gap between US companies and Uzbek tech employees. So let me start. As Barno said, I'm working for the trust company, and the main role and mission of trust company is to connect American companies and tech talents from Uzbekistan, Georgia, and Kazakhstan. So, and the main reason of having this masterclass today is to help young candidates to go through the interview for an American company, because even sometimes experienced engineers, they make a mistake during the interview, and and unfortunately they don't pass. That's why I would like to share some, let's say, tips how to go through the interview and make it successful next time when you go and try to get a job in American company. So I think I can start. I'm going to share about 10 questions, probably the most important. And all those questions is more behavioral questions rather than technical. I'm sure you are able to answer all the technical questions yourself. So the first question is the most important question when the interviewer is going to tell you, tell me about yourself. This is most important question, and many people don't understand properly how to answer that question. They think, okay, the interviewer asking me my history, what I like, what I don't like, and something like that. The real reason behind that question is the company want to know your current role, your skill set, your previous experience, and your achievements. That's why it's very important to start from the current role. You should explain what you are doing in the current company or in the last company you worked for. You should explain your responsibilities, scope of work. And also, you should be very, very specific when you answer this question and bring the numbers. Your answer should not be very vague, for example. So just an example, how you should answer this question by explaining your current role or previous role and bringing some and highlighting some numbers. So for example, you can say, in the last company, I've been working as a software engineer on, let's say, on the project where we worked on, where we built the microservice. And my job was to build the API connections. And doing some improvements on the API side, I got 10% performance achievement. So it's very important to bring some numbers and show that you understand your job and you're very specific on your answers. The same thing, you should talk about your previous roles in the previous companies. So let's say if you worked in 5 different companies, probably you should not go too far. But if you talk about the last 3 companies and you think that those 3 companies is important to talk about now, you should talk about them. And the same thing, you should say, in a previous company or even before, I worked as a junior engineer and my job was fix the bugs or do something like that. And I was successful at that position because I got, let's say, 10 bugs per day, and I was able to close 9 of them daily, which was the really good result. Something like this. So always keep in mind to be very specific and highlight your achievement. So this is how you should answer that question. So the next question is, it's a very tricky question. The second question is, why did you leave your last job? So the interviewer wants to understand the reason for leaving your previous job. And so you should be very careful when you answer that question, because you never should be negative. Even it was a negative case why you left your last job. You should not talk negatively, because if you are negatively now, then you're gonna talk negatively about the current employer in the future. It's gonna be the red flag if you start your answer like, oh, it was a bad company or something like that, or my manager was bad, that's why I left that company. So you should be honest but positive. If something was wrong with the last company, or if you left your last job because of money, also you should not mention about that, because yes, money is important. It's always important, but money is not number one. If money is your main reason why you left, probably you don't want to mention that, because money doesn't motivate people for a long time. You can get a good salary, but you won't be a good employee for a long time. So, as I know, money is like a coffee. You get motivation for a short period of time, but after 1, 2 months, you like it stops motivating you. That's why be honest and positive, and focus on the future when you answer that question, and stay professional. So, and you should bring all the reasons only related to the previous job. Let's say it was a like bad company, or some conflict happened. You may say that as I told you, should stay positive and say, I've learned a lot in my previous company, but I understood that I'm not growing, like, for example, I'm not growing professionally anymore in that company. That's why I'm looking for a new opportunity. And I see that your company is exactly what I'm looking for. And in your company, I see that I can grow professionally, and so on. Always try to stay positively when you answer that question. So next one is, tell me about a time you handled a difficult situation. So in that case, the interviewer wants to know how you handle a difficult situation, or they wants to know your problem solving skills, or wants to know how you like handle the challenging situation. It's life. It happens very often in any companies that when you work on a specific project, some difficulties coming, and usually when you don't expect them. That's why be very specific when you answer that question. So you should choose real life example to demonstrate your ability to manage a situation. So you're going to show your problem solving skills. You should emphasize how you talk to other people on that situation, how you collaborate, how you communicate to other people, and how you found a solution for that challenging situation. Just an example. Let's say you worked again on a company X, and you worked on some specific project, and you were dependent on other team. And let's say other team promised you that their feature is already done. But let's say when it was a time to connect that feature to your feature, you figure out that it wasn't like proper information. You figure out that the feature wasn't done. So it's a problem. That means that you are not able to deliver your feature on time because they are not ready. So instead of blaming someone else and saying, "Oh, that team was bad. They told me they are ready, but actually they weren't." So never blame someone. So you should show how professionally you are able to communicate and find a solution on that situation. So you should say, okay, I organized a meeting with that team, and also we invited architect to figure out what's the quick win or quick solution we can find in this situation and go forward, because it's very important to deliver our feature on time. So we have our client who is waiting and who probably paid us to have this feature. That's why it's very important to show how you communicate, how you stay calm and stay professional and find a solution, rather than just, for example, be angry and blame someone like in that situation. Yeah, I would say it's very important. Yeah. So the next question is, tell me about a time you failed. So it's a very, very important question. So I did probably 40 or 50 interviews, and I always ask that question. It's very important to understand, like the interviewer is interested in understanding how you deal with fails. So are you able to accept that it was a your fail, or you blame everybody else but not yourself in any fail? It's very important. If the person is able to accept his fail, then it says that the person is mature enough and professional to understand that everybody's fail. It's okay. Most important, you're going to show that you understood your fail, you accept that, you learned from that, and you did something to prevent this fail in future. This is the key moment in that question. If you say I never failed, it's a red flag. Probably you failed that interview, because nobody is perfect. Everybody fails. But again, it's very important to understand like that you accept and learn from that. So you should be honest and accountable. You're gonna show that you take accountability to your fails. Again, it shows your maturity and responsibility. And again, focus on the learning experience, what you learned from that fail, and what did you do to prevent this fail in future. Again, try to keep positive. Yeah, fails happen, it's okay. And try to keep positive and talk more about like what did you learn and how do you try to escape this situation in future and what improvements you did. Just example, you may say, okay, I made a plan and I promised to deliver this feature on time. But when it was a time deadline, I didn't deliver the feature. So it's a fail. Okay, what did you learn from that? So, for example, you communicate with many teams and you did a planning, but you understood that the planning wasn't good enough. It's the first thing why it led to fail. Or the communication wasn't good enough. For example, if you were dependent on other teams and they didn't deliver on time, that means you didn't communicate deep enough to understand how quickly they can deliver their feature. So it's the second part of the failure. And you should talk about like, okay, now while I'm communicating or I'm building my plan, for example, I'm doing proof of concept to make sure that I'm precisely understand the amount of work and the deadline. And probably I would like take a little bit more time as a buffer to make sure that uh, like I have some time if something like wrong happens during the development. So, and yeah, this is how you're going to show that you failed, you accept that, and you're going to say, it was my fail. You're going to accept. If you don't accept, but you talk about the fail without acknowledging that it was your fail, it also not good. So, the next question is, what are your greatest strengths? So in that question, the interviewer wants to know your self-awareness, that you know your strengths and you understand where your strengths are. And here you should, when you answer that question, you should be, again, very specific. You should not say, oh, I'm the best developer in the world, or I'm a hard worker, or something like that. So you should be very specific. If you're going, if you're applying, let's say, to as a backend developer on Python, for example, you should say, okay, yeah, my strengths is a Python and just, for example, fast API framework. I've spent 5 years developing microservices or very complex project on the fast API. That's why it's my strengths. You should provide like examples, like real life examples, and should prove why it's your strengths, and be ready to get a specific question after your answer. If you say, oh, okay, my strengths is a Python and fast API framework, then be ready to get the next question, like fast API specific question, just because interviewer wants to really know how good you are on that thing. So, and don't over praise yourself probably by saying, "Oh, I'm the best fast API developer in the world," or something like that. So yeah, try to keep it real, and moreover, try to bring more examples rather than just one, because again, you are applying for that position, and it's good for the company if you have a broad skill set rather than like very, very one specific skill set. And please don't list like irrelevant strengths. If you are going for the IT company, and probably no one cares if you are a good driver. I'm not sure. Yeah, something like that. Just again, I bring the example. I can bring another example. So if your strengths in ability to communicate complex ideas and like make it clearly and effectively, for example, you can say, in my previous role, I always led a presentation, and I was able to simplify a complex ideas and explain to non-technical stakeholders. So it's also an ability. Not everybody is able to explain complex things with a simple words and deliver to, let's say, to the leadership, which, like in most cases, those people are not like technically well enough. So, and this is also another example. And yeah, make sure all your strengths you are bringing to the discussion is related to the current position, to the current job. Okay, the next question, and this one is also a tricky one. What is your biggest weakness? Again, the interviewer wants to test you that you are aware about your weakness and you are honest about that, and you are willing to accept your weakness and you are improving on that. It's very, very important. If you say, I don't have any weakness, then again, you failed the interview. Like, it's impossible. So you should choose a real weakness, but you should be very careful when you answer that question. That weakness should be related to this, again, to this job, and it should not be critical. If you are going to DBA, database administrator, and you are saying my weakness is a database knowledge, then probably you're not gonna go through the interview. So you should be honest but strategic. Choose the weakness which related to this job, but not a critical again. So you should show that you're aware about that weakness and you are working on that. You should bring an example and say, if, I don't know, I'm learning how to make this weakness my strength, to make this my strengths, and keep it professional. Again, it should be work related, and try to turn it into a positive discussion. Yeah, weakness for sure. It's not a like pleasant thing to discuss, and but you should talk about that, then switch discussion how you're improving again, and you're like you are ready to be a better. So and on that specific area. Just an example. For example, my weakness, so I'm taking too much responsibility at once, and I'm always like failed to deliver everything because I took too much responsibility, and now I've realized that I should delegate my work to my team, and to prevent my own burnout, for example. And when I start delegated, I've been learning that like delegating tasks is more effectively to me, to my team. So now I'm able to trust my team because I delegate my job to them, and it leads to the increasing our performance and overall increase the, let's say, the spirit of the team. So this is kind of a good example. It shows you are hardworking, for sure, but you're taking too much responsibility and not able to deliver everything. Okay, again, don't try to overemphasize the weakness. Talk about that, but don't focus too much on that. And again, don't blame other. It's a good rule. Never blame other people. All your problems is related to you. It's very important to keep in mind. So the next question is, why are you a good candidate for this role? It's an important question because the interviewer wants to know how well you know this position, this job, and how well you know about the company. So because when you answer that question, you want to show that you know the current job. For example, if you are going as a front-end developer, let's say it's a React position, and you understand when you're answering this question, you should say, here's my skill set. I have whatever years of experience with front-end development with React, and I am able to build this UI or let's say this website or something like that and bring value to your company. And also you should provide specific example to demonstrate that you understand like what this company is building and how you can help and how your skill set can help the company. So, and you should show how you're going to add the value to this company. For example, you can say, okay, if you are doing websites for car dealers, I have this experience. I understand their car industry, and also I have the like front-end skill set. I'm able to build the great UI, which allows the customers of our customers to choose a car, to customize this car and buy it online. Just something like that. You should be very specific and show how you can add value to the company, and always be confident in your answers. Just when you answer this question, just don't talk what you already have in your resume, and don't be don't be vague with the general statements like I am a hard worker again, or I'm a quick learner, something like that. Be very specific and emphasize all your strengths and skill set, how you can help this company to grow or bring value. Yeah, just an example. Like you can say, I'm a strong candidate for this role because all of my experience in digital marketing, and I have my proven ability to drive results. In my previous position, for example, I led a team that successfully increased our company's online presence, resulting 40% increase in web traffic. So again, bring some numbers. It's also important. So you should always be very specific when you answer the questions. Okay, the next one, how do you deal with uncertainty? This question is about your adaptability, or adaptability, like ability to adapt to change in the company. Because the interviewer want to know how you're going to behave when changes come to the company. Any change in the company is always a stress because you used to work in a specific way. You know how to make this job, but now company decides to bring something brand new to the company you've never done before. And for sure, it's stress. Many people don't like it, don't like any change. They prefer to use how they used to work before. And that's why the interviewer want to know how you're going to handle these, like, let's say, stress, this change. And when you answer that question, you should be, again, very specific and bring some example. So you should demonstrate how you stay calm and focused and learn how to implement the new change or how to adapt to the new change. And you're going to show your problem-solving skills, because with a new change, new problems coming, and you should learn and implement something new in the company, and always be positive about that. So also you're gonna highlight your flexibility. So you should be able to demonstrate that you're able to shift your priorities and change some tactics and bring this change to the company. Just like real example from my experience. In 20 probably 13 or 14, I don't remember. Our company start using the Agile Scrum framework, and it was a brand new for us. For sure, I didn't know what's that, how to use it, and the company gave us a book, and they told, if you want to know how it works, many companies using this framework, please, you can take a book and read, or we can buy you another book if you want to read more. It took me like a couple weeks to read this book and understand the idea. And I knew if the company make decision, probably they know why they're doing this change, and I should learn. I should learn why it's important. For sure, sometimes company makes a decision which wasn't successful sometimes, but as I told before, you should stay positive about that. Even if in your company decision wasn't successful, you should say, I learned a lot. For example, if the company bring the Scrum framework and I learned what is Scrum framework, how it works, but let's say it didn't work out, you may mention that, but it's not important in that moment. It's more important what you learned and how you start implementing Scrum in your day-to-day work. So in my previous example, I learned Scrum and I read the book, and then I got the Scrum Master position because I was probably the only who decided to learn how Scrum works deeply and so on. So this is kind of a good example how you adapt to change in the company. Okay, and the last question. How do you maintain like well-being? It's very important because the interviewer want to know how you stress out. So it's very often when people work, they work hard, too hard, and they burn out. And as an employer, I want to know how you manage your stress because I want you stay productive in work. So that's why you should explain how you balance your work-life balance or how you manage your work-life balance. Like you should be honest, and you should bring examples. What do you do? For example, I go to gym, or I go walking with my family, or I go running or do something to make sure that I stress out. If you say, oh, I work, I have another work, or I work like till midnight, it's not good because as an employer, I'm gonna know that you burn out very soon and you lose your productivity. So, and you're gonna show the positive impact of what you are doing. So, for example, you can say, yeah, I go running and next day I feel myself like really freshed out and come back to the work, and I see how my productivity like increased from the moment I start running outside on the fresh air and something like that. And and don't try to avoid mention like unhealthy habits. Probably, I'm not sure how to say, but if you say, oh, I drink alcohol after the work to stress out, probably it's not a good idea to say something like that. Yeah, I think that's it. So the overall outcome of all these questions, I would like to focus on a couple of things, which is very, very, very important. Always stay positive. Don't be negative. Never blame other, never. If you blame someone, then you're gonna blame this employer in future. And yeah, and be honest, and be very specific. When you answer any questions, bring real examples. Try to bring the numbers because you want to stay professional. You don't want to stay, oh, I create amazing project. It tell me nothing. What is amazing? What does it mean? So you should be very specific. We increased the number of users from 100,000 to 1 million. We increased the performance to 20%, and so on, so on. Yeah, I hope this question and answers is going to help you. Yeah, when you go through the interview, like, and overall, I think it's not only for American companies. I think these rules, they're very general, and you're going to stay professional no matter in what country you are going through the interview. And yeah, I hope it's going to help you a lot. So we have some time, and if you have any questions, feel free.
Thanks, Kadir. It was very useful. I also myself faced several times this type of questions, and you're right. It's everywhere around the world. In Uzbekistan, I also face this kind of questions, and in international companies, it's the same. You're right. So let's go to questions. We have a few questions in the chat. One question from YouTube channel. What do you recommend for people like me who has recently completed the course and has no experience?
Great question. I prepared for this question because I knew I'm coming to School 21. So you guys, you just going through the like School 21 Academy, right? And this is also an achievement. And this is also a real example. So when you answer the questions, again, you should be very specific. You want to bring the numbers. You can say, I was top 10 of students in School 21. And I completed 95% of my exams like in successful rate, for example. I learned, I don't know, I went through the 10 Python classes or 15 DBA classes and something like that. And try to bring more information before you go to the interview and show your experience. Even you're applying to a, let's say, junior position or intern position, it doesn't matter. It's going to show, for example, if I'm interviewing you and you are bringing me these numbers, that shows me that you did your homework, you prepared, rather than you are not able to answer the questions.
Okay, thank you. We have a few more questions. What questions are on the tech interview stage?
Like technical interview, okay. I would like to say that all those questions I talked before, this is behavioral questions. And this step is very important. Usually, like mostly, the first interview is a technical and the second is a behavioral interview. And why behavioral interview is important? Because sometimes when I hired people, they could be technically brilliant people, but I understand that that person is not a team player. That person may break my team from inside, and as a manager, I would know until it's late. That's why sometimes I'm rejecting people. So if you're asking about the technical questions, so it's difficult to say. It's up to the company what the technical questions could be, but again, it depending on the position. There is a junior, middle, and the senior positions, right? And if you're a strong developer, I mean, according to your level, if you are junior, you probably want to be stronger as much as you can to be able to answer any questions. So if you're middle, then for sure, for the middle position, you're going to be stronger than a junior, but now you're getting a little bit responsibility because now you're on the middle level. So for the senior position, I can just share a little bit more information. For the senior position, you are not just developer anymore. So you are a responsible person who should be able to communicate with other because you're senior now. You're going to help mid-level and junior engineers. You should communicate to other team members, I mean, from other teams. It could be like designers or product owners or someone else, because again, you're senior. So senior people, they should be able uh, to know all the design patterns and to understand probably even business a little bit, or probably even more than a little bit. So by increasing your like level, you're increasing your responsibility, and your horizon is going to increase. You should not be only the developer. But again, I'm not able to say what technical questions could be because it's a very like job specific. It's a front end, back end, DBA, or product owner, or designer, or whoever else.
Thanks for your answer. Yeah, you're right. That's why our School 21 focused on developing both soft skills and hard skills at the same time. And next question from Daniel again. How to get to the interview stage in the first place?
How to get to the interview stage first place?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure I'm getting that question.
Yeah. Daniel, can you elaborate on this question or tell it in Uzbek language?
Yeah, feel free to speak Uzbek or Russian.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah. You can unmute yourself, Daniel.
Oh, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
No, what I mean by this is the situation is so bad that companies don't even write back anymore. Usually they say rejected or accepted, but now you straight up just get ignored. And like, it's even like this for people who just finished university with a master's degree and they expect to get a job, but they all just get ignored. So, I mean, yeah, that's what I wanted to specify.
Got it. Yeah, it depends on the company for sure. There is nothing to do. So I say if company wants to stay professional, they must reply to every candidate. Like very often companies, they don't reply and only reply to those who they find who match the requirements. Yeah, it happens. There is nothing to do else. Just wait. If they don't reply you, probably what a good technique if you're applying for a foreign company. So you want to go to LinkedIn, find that company, find a people or probably the person who is responsible to make a final decision. For example, if you are applying for the software engineer, like in most cases, the director of engineering is the person who gonna make the final decision. Probably you want to find that person in the LinkedIn and message him directly. Sometimes it may help.
So next question is from abroad. How do we know, how we should know if you've reached to middle or senior level?
Okay, really good question. So when I used to manage software engineers, very often my employees ask me like, I want to get to the next level. I want to be a middle. I want to be senior. And very often people think, okay, they're expecting something like, if you do this, A, B, C, D, then if you can do this, then you are senior now. If you can do this, or you are mid-level now. It never works like that. I put the personal goals. So my answer is like that. Let's put the personal goals. You should learn like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And then if you are able to implement these things in your job, that means you are better engineer now, but it doesn't mean you're on the next level. Why? Because on that specific moment, I am asking you to implement these things, but the seniority comes by nature. So if I start seeing that you are implementing this thing without asking, and it's your normal style of work, so you know the design patterns, you know the architecture, you understand many things, and you take into account all that stuff while you're working, that shows your maturity. That shows now you're on the next level. Because if I ask you and you're gonna do this only to get these checkbox, no, it doesn't mean you are on the next level. So by nature, by default, you should want to make this change in your work to go to the next level. So my suggestion, just learn, read more, and try to implement. Because when you read the article or book, it's a good, but it's theory. So in real life, it's totally different. You should try more, much more. So until you really understand how it works. And when you start doing these things in the real project, that shows that you are on the next level now.
Thank you so next question by Seva. Should we use real examples in our answers to every question, or is it's not necessary?
Yes. If you remember, I told many times, be honest and try to bring the real life examples. If you try to think up some example, you can get the second question about this example. And if it wasn't a real case, then it's going to be obvious that you are just making up this answer and trying to answer the question. So it's going to be very, very obvious. And for sure, the interviewer is not going to like it, and you may fail the interview. Or again, if you didn't have something specific related to that question, you should be honest. You should say, no, I didn't have this situation, never. For example, if, again, the question is, have you ever had any difficulties or conflict situations in your previous job, and you just completed from the like academy? You may say, oh, I just completed like 6 months or 1 year academy, and I didn't have any conflicts. I didn't work before. So that's why I don't have this like scenario in my life. And it's going to be honest answer.
Okay, so next question again from Daniel. How would you recommend to stand out if you were fresh out of high school but had really good knowledge of the core programming like React and Node.js? How would you show your experience?
Yeah, as I told before, you can talk about your personal projects. For example, when I started, when I started, it was 2002 probably. I liked programming, and I started building my own frameworks. If you're doing something like that, or you build any website, or if you think that you build something interesting, talk about that. You wanna bring the example how you got this idea and why you like it. So, for example, when I interview people and I see that people do something like outside of work, and they're interested in doing something, like people say, oh, I try to, let's say, build some game on React, or I don't know, just an example, where I'm trying to solve this specific problem by myself, and by building something like a mini framework or something like that. It shows me that the person loves his job. He loves what he's doing. He's not here only for money. That person is going to go far, and probably I would choose that person rather than a little bit like stronger candidate, because again, behavioral questions is going to show me who is here just because they love the job, or who is here because of money. It's very important. Again, get the data. If you have the your projects in GitHub, bring your projects, explain them. What was interesting, why you decided to make this project. Where if you go through the School 21, bring the numbers, how many courses you completed, or what your achievements was in the school, and so on, so on.
So next question from YouTube. The person is writing, I know how to code on Python, and now I'm learning English. How is it possible to go to United States to work as a programmer?
Okay, yeah, good question. So you don't have to go to the US to work for the US company. So that's why trust is here. So as I told at the beginning, in trust, our job is to connect US companies and tech talents from Uzbekistan, Georgia, and Kazakhstan. So we work in 3 countries. And we have our website, hiretrust.com. So anybody can go to our website like directly, and you can sign up. So yeah, Barno just shared a link. you can sign up on our platform, create your own profile, fill up your profile, and this way you could be hired. For sure, it's gonna be remote. So I'm not talking to visit the US because you're gonna get the visa to go to the US. It's totally another question. But I think it's a great opportunity to work for the US company from your home. So you don't need any visa or any documents, nothing. You just need your English language, and you need just your technical skill set to work for the US company. So feel free to go to our website, hiretrust.com, and you can see all open positions. So, and you can apply to any position. So then you're going to go through the interview. The first interview is going to be with the trust recruiters, because we want to know, are you a good fit or not? Because until we send candidates to our clients.
The next question. Pardon my rudeness, but does Trust have junior positions? Because all positions are at least 3+ years of experience. Personally, I'm a junior MERN stack. Sorry for if I didn't pronounce it wrong. Developer with my skills will be needed.
Yeah,
With my
good
skills will be
question.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah, good question. We know about that. So for sure, many companies, they require mid-level or senior level engineers in the US. What we're trying to do at Trust, this is the main reason why we built partnership with School 21, and we're planning to build a partnership with other academies in Uzbekistan. And we know that mostly all the students who graduate from these academies, they're juniors. It's impossible to be a mid-level when you just graduate from the academy. And we're working on the plan how to find the way to employ the juniors candidates for the US companies. For sure, it's our job is to talk our clients and show the possibilities of juniors as well. For example, we have different programs. Probably I'm not going to share right now what we're going to do, but we're working on that. And once we do this, for sure, we're going to make an announcement, and we will talk to School 21, and they're going to deliver this information. So what's the best way if you are junior to apply to positions? Yeah, we know about that, and we're working on that.
Yeah, and another language-related question: what level of English do you need to know to go to an interview with confidence?
So it's a good question. It depends on our clients. Some clients, they're very strict, and they say, we want a candidates with the perfect English. So they want at least C1 level, like advanced. Some companies, they say, okay, sometimes we had probably 3-4 junior positions in the past, and they said, for the junior positions, we're okay to start from B1, because the person is going to be junior, and the person is going to learn, and probably it's okay for us to, if the English is not like advanced level. Yeah, but everybody is young, right? So spend a little bit time, learn the English language. So there is so many material in YouTube, and I'm sure you can do this. It should not be a problem at all. If you spend 6 months trying to learn the language, read the books, read all the articles in the English language, and so it should not. So your technical skill set and your English language should not be a problem for you at all. So your experience, this is a problem, like a previous question, how I can work for the US company if I'm a junior. Yeah, this is kind of problem, but other stuff should not be a problem if you really want to work for the foreign companies.
Yeah, next question. What is asked of React developers at your company during the technical interview? And the general question, can I use Python? Sorry. Sorry. Can I use Python on the technical interview, even if it's a JavaScript position?
I think no. So yeah. So we have 1 minute left, right? And probably I would say a couple of words about like I just would share a little bit of my story. I started in 2002, and I remember it was a American company, IRIX, came to Samarkand, and they hold 2 weeks free classes of programming. Only 2 weeks. They taught us HTML, a little bit CSS, and a little bit Photoshop. That's it. I got only 2 weeks of programming classes when I started learning. Like when I just started, I didn't know what is programming at all. Now, guys, you have 6 months, 1 year of learning or whatever. This should be example for you. If you want to get to some position and be professional, it's totally up to you. So I saw the School 21 when I was in Samarkand this summer, and Zarina showed me the school, the equipment, the classes. I was so impressed, to be honest. It was like impossible at the beginning of 2000 when I just started. So guys, you have all opportunity to be professional and to learn so quickly with all the abilities of School 21. So use this chance, learn, it's totally up to you. And I'm sure you're gonna find an amazing job and in foreign companies.
I also shared the School 21 link in the chat. So we have only one last question left.
Sure.
Can I say it? Yeah. How important are personal projects and open source contributions when applying for junior developer positions? And what is the best way to effectively present them on a resume in an interview? Additionally, is working on smaller projects valuable for gaining experience?
Any experience is important. Working in a small project, working in a big project, yeah, it's very important. You must talk about your open source like projects, about your side projects. So again, as I told before, if it's the only experience you have and you didn't work before in other places, you're gonna show how you wanna learn, how you wanna grow. If you're really passionate about that, the interviewer is gonna see that, because it's very important. So in the interview, you are selling yourself as a person. For sure, it's a junior position. You're going to show your skill set. But if you're going to show that you are ready to learn and you are ready to grow, and if you say, give me this opportunity and I'm going to show you how I'm going to be a good like candidate employee for your company and bring value because I love what I'm doing, it's going to be much more better than probably other candidates just showing the technical skill set. I hired many people like that. And it wasn't mistake, because when the person loves his jobs, so probably you know this saying, right? If you wanna, how it said, if you don't want to work 1 day in your life, just love what you do, something like that. That means you're gonna do your lovely job. It's not a work for you.
We have another last question.
Yeah,
Can I
sure.
ask it?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure. It's okay.
What is more important in personal projects, quantity or quality?
I would say quality and the idea behind that. So you can make many small projects. Yeah, again, it's difficult to say now. It depends on the project for sure, but I would say the quality and idea. What was the idea? So because it's very important to understand if the person is thinking how to solve some problem, that means he figure out this problem and he trying to find a solution. It's a very good skill set. It's a problem solving skill set, which is going to be very important in future when you become an employee and when you grow, because you continue finding the problems and trying to solve them. Yeah, it's very important to show the idea behind your projects.
It's over. We are done with questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I would like to say, please go to the link that Barno shared in the chat.
Yeah.
Open your profile in our platform. So it's a app.hiretrust.com. Sign up. Yeah. Excuse me. Open your profile, and it's gonna be easy for us. So for sure, if you know English, and so you're gonna create your profile and just be ready to be hired for the US company, and continue increase your skill set and English knowledge.
Thank you so much, Kadir, for today's meeting with our peers, with wider audience. Thanks for sharing. It was really insightful, interesting.
Thank you for that opportunity, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks to all participants for being active and asking questions. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.